Hi and welcome to this video. I got a request a while ago to make a tutorial on how to make a railway car in Fusion 360 for the OS Railway project. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a project I've been working on for 2 years to create a fully 3D printable toy railway system. And it's mostly available on Thingiverse. If you go into Thingiverse and you search for either Depronized or you search for OS Railway, you will find the different parts. There are a page for track, and there's also 2 motorized locomotives at this point that you can download for free, and you can print and you can build. But in this tutorial I will show you how you can make your own car, and this is how the project looks in Fusion 360. And I'm using a really old computer. I'm using a 2008 MacBook Pro, and you can see that it's still working pretty good. There are some hiccups at some points, and I wouldn't recommend doing very tough renderings, but working with mechanical designs is no problem at all, so you don't need a fancy computer for this. And so what I will show you is how you can in the easiest way make a passenger car, and it's really unnecessary to do everything from the ground up. So I have prepared a few things that you can download and you can import into Fusion, so I will show you how to do that. You go to my webpage depronized.com, and you click on forum main page, and you scroll down to the OS Railway printable, the 3D printed railway section, and you click on CAD files, and there you can download the track in step format, and you can also download the bogie, because if it's the first time you're drawing something for this, it's unnecessary to draw the whole bogie from the ground up, because that's the most complex part. So I'd really recommend that you import these pieces and start with that. So I will show you how to do that. You click upload in Fusion, and you select the parts, and to be able to import them into our project we have to save it first. So we'll call it train car. And first I import the tracks section. And you can just click OK on the position. And I will import another one, so I have 2 of them. And to change the orientation like I do here, I hold the shift button and I click the scroll wheel on the mouse, and then I can turn around like this, or you can click on the little cube up to the right, but holding shift and the mouse wheel is really convenient. Then our next task is to import the bogies. Now you can see that it ends up a little bit wrong, so we will adjust the position. It's not critical where you place the first one, it's the second one that is important, so you get the right length of the car. I can see that I have it the wrong way. I will turn it around. The reason for that is so that the connection to the other cars is in the right place. Now I will not import it a second time, I will copy it, because then it will go from the same place. And this allows me to adjust the wheelbase. And what I found when I did cars is that around 200 millimeter is the maximum you should use, because otherwise it gets too long for the short radius of the track. So if you want it to really work well, don't make it longer than 200 millimeters. And we will turn the other one around. So now we have a good starting point, and we will save it for now, because now we need some inspiration for the design. And I recommend that you go to Google and make a Google search for railway passenger car drawings or train car drawings. Or if you need if you have a special car that you want to draw, then search for pictures or drawings where you have it perfectly from the side, because that makes it a lot easier to model it, because we will use the picture in Fusion, and you cannot do that if you have a perspective. You need it to be straight from the side. You can also search for blueprint. That will also give you good pictures, but they are a bit harder to use. I will show you. Because they are often only lines, so it's a bit harder to see the details. I can just click back. So what we'll use for this tutorial is this picture. It's a quite simple car, but you have something to start with, and you can make something more complex if you want later on. So what I'll do here is I'm gonna get this green one. So on a Mac I will hold down Shift, Command and 4. That gives me the possibility to take a picture, a screenshot of just a part of the screen. If you're on a Windows computer, you can click on the start button, and you can start writing snippet tool, and you can use that to basically do the same thing. Now we will import this into Fusion. So we click insert attach canvas, and we click the side plane, and we click the select image button and choose the screenshot. Now you can see that it gets super tiny, but don't worry about the position and the scale right now, because we will fix that. Now Fusion has a really nice way to scale pictures, and you right click and you choose calibrate. And if you need to first find out the dimension you want to scale it after, now we'll just try, because we don't really know already. So we will try. So what I'll first do, I will click on two known points, and I will choose the dimension I think I want. And in this case I will try 200 millimeter, and we will see how that looks. And we can right click and choose edit canvas, and we can place it around and see how it looks. And we can now see that this is a bit small. So I will again click calibrate, and I will choose the same position so I have something to relate to. And if it's hard to see, you can unclick the rest. So How much do you think we need? I will add 40 millimeter and see how it looks. That's a bit too big. So I click Ctrl Z to undo. And let's make it 220 and see how it looks. That looks better. Now what I want here is a small overlap between the um, the connection part here. I don't know what to call it, and the end of the train car. I don't want too much overlap here because then it will not work when you attach it to the locomotive and other cars. So this looks reasonable. So we will click OK, and now we will use this as a reference when we create the rest of the car. Now one important thing to know in Fusion to make it a lot easier to work with project is components. So you right click on the top and you choose new component, and let's call this the chassis. And we want the chassis to attach to these plates. So what we'll do is we'll click one of them, and we click create a sketch, and you can see that one of them is now lit. But we want the sketch to know about the other one as well, so we can click P for project, and we can click the other one and OK. We can also, if we want, we can click this one also, so it has the edges. Now our sketch knows about these edges and these parts that we want to connect it to. We want to make sure these holes for the screws end up in the right place. Now one nice thing to do if you want to now know how long you're gonna make the chassis, you click on this side so you can still see your canvas and you can also see the sketch. So what I'll do, I will click L for line, and I will just click somewhere on the canvas, and I use the line to see how long it will be, 277. And let's see how long we need to do it from the center of the bogie. It's like 37 millimeters. So what we'll do now, I will hide the track so we don't have so much things going on. I will make a square. I click R for rectangle, and I insert the dimensions. Now we don't want to know exactly how wide we want it. I think I want it to extend a little bit outside the sleepers. So let's try 30 millimeters. We can change it later on if we want to. So there we have it. Now I hold the command button so I can click several of the surfaces, because you can see these lines, otherwise they leave a bit that is not extended when I click extrude. So I need to click these as well. And then I click E for extrude. 5 millimeters seems to be a bit much. Let's make it 2 millimeter. Now if you want to see how it looks with the track and everything, you can right click in the top of the tree and you click activate. That will make everything visible in the same way. Yeah, so let's start with that, and now we can make the body. So we create a new component and we call it body. And now we click the top of the chassis. That means we will automatically get the edges. Now what we can do, you can double click on the edge, so you can see now that the whole edge is selected, and you can click O for offset. What this does is this creates a new line along the whole selected edge, and you can choose how far you want it. So what we're basically doing now is the thickness of the body, and I will make this one 2 millimeters thick. Now you can either click stop sketch and you can click on a surface and extrude it, or you can do it directly in the sketch. I will do it this time. I will click the edge, and you can either click on the extrude button or you can click E. I'm used to work with the commands now, but I will try to click some of the buttons so you can easier follow what I'm doing. So I will click extrude, and now I don't know how far I want to extrude this, so I will click the side view so I can look at the canvas at the same time, and we can extrude this up right up to the roof. Now you can see that the canvas is really dim. That's because it's not located inside our component. This is something that is a bit a shame in Fusion, that it's maybe there is a possibility to make it more visible even if it's not in the component. I guess there's many times where you have a canvas that you use for many components, but what you can do is you can place it inside the components. If there is one you work with a lot of details, for example with a body, you could place it inside the component, and that would make it more visible when you're working. Especially if you have a lot of small details, I would recommend that you do that. So now we have the basic geometry of the body. So what we're going to do now is the windows. So I click on one side and I click sketch, and then I want to see these windows a little bit better. So what I can do is I can click on the component I'm working on. I click on bodies and I unclick the body I've just created. That makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. And now we will select the areas that we're gonna remove to create the windows. And what we can think of now is, do we want a separate frame for the windows, or do we just want a cutout? And in this case I will actually use a cutout, or no, I'll do a frame. So we'll do like this. We will select the whole window, like that. Now if there's only a few of them, it's easy to just draw them, but I will show you another thing you can do. Sorry, I will show what I'm doing. I click extrude, zoom out, and now I have to select the body again so Fusion knows what I want to do. I draw straight through, and you can see that it automatically turns red. That's because Fusion thinks I want to cut, and that's what I want to do in this case. So I click OK. Now that is one of the windows. Now what you can do if you have a lot of small details of the exact same shape and you want to do them on a straight line, you can use pattern on a path. It's a little bit sketchy, sometimes it doesn't work, it gives you really strange error messages. I don't know what they are, but we'll try. So what I then choose is features, and I click on the window extrude. Then we need to select a path, and I will click one of the lines, and now it actually gives me the warning. I don't know, it's not a really informative warning, it just says the input is wrong. I don't know why it thinks it's wrong. And how many windows do we need? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll see if this works even though we got the error message. No, it didn't. Let's see what happens if we just extend it more. No. I will try one more thing. I will select these faces to see if it was the selection or the path that was wrong. I suspect it's the path, so this will probably not work, but I'll try anyway. Now here's the really informative warning. It would have been nice if it told me a little bit more of what's wrong. So it's obviously it's the path, but now it's looked a little bit better. So let's try to make 7 windows and see what's going on. And what I try to do now, I try to align this really hard to see piece here with the window in the canvas. So this is it's not some super precise thing going on. You can see you can do it with the micrometer precision, but for a model like this I just work with it visually. Yeah, there we are. So now we have our basic windows. Now as we're doing this for 3D printing, we have to have in mind how it's going to print. So one thing that is important is to think of orientation when we print this. We want to place this on the print bed, and also with the chassis we want to also place that on the print bed, but we will place it upside down, so we don't do anything on the upper side of the chassis. We leave this completely flat so we can place it on the print bed. But we can do whatever we want on the underside. We can place some things there, some components, some details, and we're gonna do that later. But it's important to have this in mind with the orientation right from the start, so you don't have to redo a lot of things. Now, if there are things you want to place on the upper side of the chassis, you can make a plate with the details that you print separately and you glue it in later. That can be, for example, tables and stuff like that. Or you can place them inside the body and attach them to the wall, because we're printing the body as it's oriented right now, we can place things on the floor there. Just don't attach them to the chassis, because that will not work. Now we can activate the whole thing, and we can look at it and see how the geometry looks. Looks quite okay in my mind. But we need some more details because it looks a bit flush.